Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Effectively managing Australia's economy can seem complicated for some people. It's clearly always been beyond the understanding of the Leader of the Opposition, for example. The Shadow Treasurer obviously struggles with the idea daily, and the Deputy Leader of the Opposition finds even aspiration mystifying. So I fear she is a long way off. Only one side of the House understands how to effectively manage the economy, because only one side of the House understands and appreciates business. Managing a prosperous economy is a lot like running a successful business. Unlike those members opposite, most Australians living in the real world recognise the common sense principles you need to follow if you want to do either. In business, just like a household budget, if you spend more than you earn, then you're going to come unstuck. One of the first and hardest lessons in life for most Australians, Mr Deputy Speaker, is if you can't afford it, then don't buy it. It's a lesson business owners and working Australians remember every day, but sadly it is a lesson this Labor Party forgot long ago. The Turnbull Government has applied that principle rigorously, recording the lowest rate of spending growth of any government in more than 50 years, and delivering a tax to GDP cap of 23.9%. It's why for 6 successive forecast updates we've been able to project that the budget's underlying cash balance will reach a surplus in 2020-2021. It's also why we can already say that the Turnbull Government is the first government in a decade which is not borrowing to pay for everyday expenses. If we can't afford it, Deputy Speaker, we're not buying it. The Labor Party, in stark contrast, is irredeemably and genetically addicted to spending money that they don't have. They refuse to commit to any spending restraint, and that's because they don't intend to show any. At the last election, they promised higher taxes on housing and income, and yet still they would have created a deficit which was $16.5 billion. Billion dollars, that's billion with a B, higher than us. Now, they're spending that same money again and then some. Their track record is clear. Under the last federal Labor government, spending was rising by 4% in real terms above inflation on average, while debt was rising at a staggering 30% every year. This is after being handed $50 billion in credit by the Howard government. Our hard-working constituents also know that if you charge your customers so much for the services you provide that they can no longer afford to pay for them. If that's the case, your business will fail. If you charge them so much that they can't pay their bills and they have nothing left over to grow their prosperity, then your income will soon disappear. The Turnbull Government wants to see all Australians prosper, get ahead and keep more of their own money. We don't want to charge Australians any more for their government than we absolutely have to. That's why we've delivered historic tax relief for every working Australian and ensured that 94% of working Australians will never have to pay a marginal tax rate above 32.5 cents in the dollar. It's also why we've reduced the company tax rate for all businesses with a turnover of $50 million and are working to expand that tax relief. We know that more prosperous businesses deliver more jobs, stronger growth and more sustainable tax revenue to pay for the services that Australians rely on. Now, for the Labor Party, Mr Deputy Speaker, the price they charge taxpayers for their government can never be high enough. No amount of tax is too much for the Labor Party. They fought to stop our tax cuts for working Australians, voting to take $70 billion more out of Australians' pockets. They've proposed more than $200 billion in other additional taxes, including extra taxes on housing, electricity, small business, investment income and even pensions. Yes, even pensions. In total, they want to take $8,000 more away from every single Australian in higher taxes. Now, Labor cannot be trusted with our nation's economy. They can't help themselves. Labor always want to spend money that they don't have, and when the time comes, it's always Australians who will have to pick up the bill.